Hi, I'm Taiko Kawakami, an ASTRAX general manager. This time, I talk about the senses and creativity that can be achieved by bringing entertainment in space. 1. Introduction. In our lives, exposure to entertainment is an important element in enriching our lives after we have fulfilled our basic needs. It is obvious that artists who create entertainment, whether it be painting, music, or other forms of entertainment, will expand their activities into space in the future. The Tokyo Ska Paradise Orchestra, which I support and which has been active in Japan and around the world for more than 30 years, has 9 members. Each member plays the parts of trumpet, trombone, tenor sax, baritone sax, guitar, bass, keyboards, percussion, and drums, and performs the music called Tokyo Ska. Basing off the idea that if this Tokyo Ska Paradise Orchestra were to expand into space, what would be needed? In this paper, we will clarify the differences in sensation and creativity on Earth and in space, and in environments with different gravity, such as the Moon and Mars, with a particular focus on artists who perform and play on stage using musical instruments, and test hypotheses about how entertainment will change in the future and how it will affect human life in the future. We will test hypotheses about the impact on human life and how entertainment will change in the future. Note that although Japan has Japanese instruments and each country has its own traditional instruments, this paper is based on the assumption that the instruments commonly used in orchestras and rock bands known throughout the world will be played and performed. 2. The sensations gained from performing on Earth. First of all, it is common on Earth to set up a front on the stage and have the audience in a fixed position in front of you facing the front of the stage. Although there are cases where the audience can change their standing position during the show, such as in the case of standing seats in a live music club, the positional relationship remains the same, facing the front of the stage. Musical instruments are broadly classified into percussion instruments such as drums and cymbals, stringed instruments such as violins and guitars, and wind instruments such as trumpets and flutes. When played on the ground, each of these instruments can be struck, plucked with a bow or hand, or blown into the instrument to produce sound. 3. Capabilities required for performance in space. To seek performance in space that is similar to that on the ground requires capabilities that are not necessary on the ground. First of all, it is quite difficult to hold one's body in place in a weightless environment. In the case of a percussion instrument, the instrument itself would probably need to be held in place. But as soon as it is struck, the same force would send the percussionist flying in the opposite direction of the direction in which the instrument was struck. To prevent the player from being blown away, it is necessary to fix the instrument and the player's body somewhere, or to develop an instrument that can be played while moving freely. One idea would be to fix the drum to the player's body and strike it as if swinging drumsticks. In Japan, there is drums held by the god of thunder called thunder drums. And one solution would be something similar to that image. Also, since marching band drum sets are also worn on the body, it would be possible to play the drum set by adding a waist belt as well, since the drum set would float if it was just hooked to the shoulder. Similarly, reed instruments such as the saxophone and wind instruments such as the trumpet, which is played with a mouthpiece, may have a great deal of force to blow into the instrument as soon as it is breathed into, making it a little more difficult for the players to balance themselves. Incidentally, the recorder or harmonica, which can be played without much effort, can be played without the body shaking from blowing. When playing a blues harp or recorder using ASTRAX's zero-gravity flight service, the force of blowing the instrument did not send the player flying in the direction opposite to the outlet, and the player was able to stay in place or go in the direction they wanted to go. We believe that the violin is the most stable stringed instrument to play, and we had a person who used ASTRAX's zero-gravity flight service to play the violin in zero-gravity space. The person played the violin firmly with his body in a floating state, Others played the Hermann harp and guitar. Each was able to play their instruments while floating in the air, without losing their physical balance as they played. Please see a separate paper for more information on the instruments played in ASTRAX's zero-gravity flight service and other experiments conducted. Other stringed instruments, such as cellos and double basses, are supported on the stage by endpins, which are rods that transmit the vibrations of the strings to the stage and make them resonate. The wall should be made of wood or something similar with the effect of spreading the resonance. Also, when playing rock guitar, for example, moving around the stage in all directions or violently scratching the strings, the player must control the direction in which the body is moving, or the player may be sent flying in an unintended direction, as is the case with percussion or wind instruments. As for the piano, which can be included in the category of percussion instruments in the sense of hitting or striking the keyboard, but is a string instrument in the sense of striking the strings to produce sound. The mechanism of the piano to produce sound requires the hammers that strike the strings when the keys are pressed to return to their original position after striking the strings. And gravity is involved in this. The hammer is pulled back to its original position by gravity. In space, where there is no gravity, the hammers cannot return to their original position, making it difficult to play the same note over and over again. It is also difficult to sit in front of a large piano and continue playing. By the way, the keyboard can be played without any problems. A number of astronauts have already played on the International Space Station. Note that in a spaceship with air or in a zero-gravity airplane, the air vibrates and human can hear the sound without any problem using their hearing ability. 4. Sensations obtained from performance in space. When performing in space, especially in zero gravity, the absolute position of the artist and audience on the ground changes. Unless the artist's position and the audience's seats are fixed, the audience can watch the performance from anywhere, from above or below, 360 degrees to the artist. In addition to a circular stage surrounded by audience seats on the ground, the performance can be viewed from above or below. Also, on Earth, artists are sometimes suspended from above by wires to make them appear to be flying, but without such large-scale equipment, all the artists and the audience can easily fly or float in the sky. 5. Sensations obtained from performance on the Moon or Mars. The Moon and Mars have gravity like Earth, so the audience will be positioned facing the front of the stage, just as on Earth. The difference is that the gravity on the Moon and Mars is 1/6 and 1/3 of that on Earth, respectively. If you are adapted to the gravity of each planet, you will not be able to jump. But if you are adapted to Earth's gravity, you will be able to jump 6 times and 3 times more, respectively, than you would on Earth. It is possible to perform using a little height without using large equipment. 6. Possibilities when the space for performance expands into space. When the space in which you perform extends to space, it literally expands the place in which you perform. Performing in the new space of space will also refine the sensitivity of the artists. Mr. Miyazawa's project called Dear Moon, which takes 8 artists on a trip around the moon, is also based on the hope that the artist's sensibilities will be refined and new works of art will be created. Also, the technology required for each location, such as outer space, the Moon, and Mars, will be different. It is hoped that the technology developed will be returned to Earth and be useful again. 7. Conclusion. Despite the fact that commercial space travel has been available since 2021, there is still much public perception that space is far away. As of September 2023, Virgin Galactic is conducting monthly commercial space trips. In preparation for a future where more and more people will go to space, we need to prepare instruments that can be played in space now. ASTRAX will continue to prepare artists to expand their activities into space. Thank you for your attention. For more details, please read the paper. If you have any questions or any suggestions, please email us. Thank you.